Well, hello everybody. Welcome, Gary. Welcome, Denise. How you doing there, Tracy?
I am doing good. How are you?
Doing fine. Welcome, Appalachian Tales of Terror with Jimmy B. Hello, Catherine. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday evening there, Gary. So, what's going on with you there?
Well, I am 0 for 2 on guests the last 2 weeks. No big deal. It's not their. Brittany ended up canceling last week. She gave us a notice. Something had popped up, and then April tonight, she had a case pop up that she couldn't get out of, so she's going to go to that, and it's all good. I just told them both that we'd reschedule. So, sounds like we're busy. Where we have bookings next week and the following week, but after that, the 18th and the 25th, and so on the Wednesdays. Brandon Alvis is supposed to come on in November, but I don't have a set date with him yet. But he was more than happy to come on. But we'll talk about that. How you doing, man? How's everything going? How'd the hunt go? How'd the hunt go?
Wonderful. Welcome everybody. I just got scared, like I was telling everybody on the last show. Welcome, Tammy. Yeah, I got scared the bejeebies out of me. You know, that guy on the bicycle came out of nowhere. I thought a ghost was kind of coming to attack me. So I wasn't expecting that. So that was my daughter's first experience on an actual investigation. So it was very interesting. So it was very enjoyable, pleasurable, nice weather in Louisville, Kentucky. That's where Elvis Presley's grandparents is buried.
No kidding.
Yeah, so it was very interesting.
So what was her surprise thing of the night? Did she have any surprises that she thought would never happen, or questions
being touched?
Oh, really?
Being touched, the numbness, the tingling. She never ever experienced that before. That was very interesting. She did not never ever felt any of that before, so that was all new to her. She wasn't going. I was going by myself.
Yeah.
So, but that was very interesting. So she's kind of got hooked on that now. So that was interesting. So she really enjoyed it. She got kind of nervous towards the end because, she's never experienced any of these events before, right?
Yeah.
So anything paranormal like that, bumps and stuff, noises she has, but playing with the gadgets and equipment, no, she has not. So getting responses and getting feedback from the audiences and people with abilities kind of made her a little nervous because she was not used to that. But other than that, after it was over, she's like, I want to do that again.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. What type of equipment did you take with you?
And I had everything. We didn't even use like 3/4 of it. So I had EMF detectors, night vision goggles, binoculars, all kinds of EVP equipment, microphones. You name it, we had it. But we were so tied up with the audience going back and forth, the spirit box, the cat balls, the EMF detectors, and all that other stuff. And watching the tombstones and the graves, because there were lights out there. And I said this on the other show. The solar lights, they would get dim and get bright and so forth. And it was hard to look because it looked like shadows, right? Mm-hmm. In mausoleums. And with the stained glass, it also looked like shadows. And I was trying to fixate my eyes. This is where you need the night vision goggles to see if there were actual shadows or not.
Yeah.
But the guy on the bicycle still threw me for a loop for everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you was there any Bigfoot sighting? Because I know you're in the area where there's a lot of them out there from what you guys have been saying. Did you hear anything or?
No, I didn't get that far, right? We stuck with the spirits and everything like that. I didn't hear any tree knocks. It was in the middle of the city, so
Well, yeah,
but you never know. But yeah, but it was still interesting. Next time, hindsight, right? We
yeah.
love the feedback and everything like that. We wanted to do a little tour and stuff and make it last a little longer and get more of people involved like they were, because it was interesting. Because they were like, "Hey, do this, try this, and do this." So because when you're tied up in the moment and getting that feedback, it was very helpful. Because
Yeah.
you were like, "Oh my God, this is happening," right? So then it was like, "Oh yeah, let's try this. Oh yeah, let's do this." So, and to hear people with the abilities and give you feedback is like, "Hey, you got so and so over your shoulder. You got an old man with this mustache or beard and sideburns." It was like, "Oh my God, really?" And then people after the show were sending screenshots in of orbs
Oh,
and
really?
faces. Yes, and that was like spooky. So yeah, it was very interesting.
No,
So
that's cool, man. That's cool. It's glad that people got to watch it. We went to Nashville over the weekend, so didn't really get much time to tune in to really anything. So,
I
but we did
understand.
watch it. We did watch it for a couple minutes. I did scoot in to see it. I didn't want to miss any too much of it.
So, yeah,
That's cool.
people were like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "We had no idea that you had all your equipment." And I tell people, and it's like it's because of the viewers and in the audience and the people that watch the show and help out is because I have the equipment that I can broadcast in the cemetery just like I am anywhere.
Yep.
And whether it's the cemetery or in the middle of the woods, I'm able to do that thanks to everybody. So it's very nice. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Did you? Yeah, I know you didn't take any dolls, but man, that
No,
would have been
they
interesting.
tried to talk me to taking dolls. Now I would have really had a heart failure. One thing that we couldn't say it was paranormal or not is that the boom mics, right? If you never had any experiences with boom mics, they're actually screwed down, clamped down to a table, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my boom mics are pretty heavy, and so I actually screw them down very tight. And during the show, it got pushed over. And well, I don't want to say push, but it leaned over and landed on my chest.
Ooh,
And it's like, and I was like, what in the world? That freaked me out, right? Because
yeah.
when I put my mics up, you cannot move them. So when I pushed it back, it moved the table, and I was like, it didn't make any sense. And Shelby's light got knocked over, so we couldn't say what happened with that, right? Because we had lanterns and all different types of flashlights and headlamp. We didn't even use our headlamps. We just used the monitor lights off our laptops and so forth. And so it was interesting. So it
No,
really
that
was.
yeah, that's cool. I need to get back out into the field here. I was talking with that paranormal yesterday, actually, about maybe in the next couple of weeks we can get out and at least do a cemetery, get something going, and get all our equipment dusted off, and get
Right, right.
it out there. It's it can be a pain though, charging everything. Oh, all
Right,
night long.
yeah. So when we got out there early and we laid everything out, and it was amazing because when I thought that ghost was running at me, right?
Yeah.
And it's always where, why didn't you film it? Why didn't you grab a camera? I was in such of a shock. Like, what am I seeing? Is like this really happening? And it's just like it's coming right at me, and I didn't know what to do. I just like froze, and I was in shock. So, but and it happens, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter how well. And I had cameras right there. I could have picked up and hit a button and filmed it, right?
Yeah.
But once again, it happens to the best of us. So,
Yes,
what
sir.
can you
Yes, sir.
say?
Hey,
Yeah.
welcome, Russell, Catherine, Eric. How you doing?
Jim
Rita.
Cameron, Dawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rita, lovely Rita May. Every time I see Rita, I think about the Beatles.
And again, guys, if you weren't here at the beginning, April ended up having to cancel at the end, or not too long ago. She had a case pop up that she had to get to. She apologized. We will reschedule with her, so that's cool. Now, while just so you know, Chris, while I was in Nashville, I put together a paranormal song
Yeah.
for the community. And since Russell Collette's on here, one of the things I thought about when I was writing that song was UFOs. And so I had to include something with the UFO just because I've seen Russell's read his stuff on on Facebook and stuff like that. So
You know that he did not know what the Wienermobile was?
really,
Ask him about pigs in a blanket. But yes, we yeah. So anyways, I'm sorry, Russell. I had to throw you underneath the bus there.
I threw Bigfoot on for you.
Yes,
it's a part of that
absolutely.
song too, Betty. So
Yes.
it was really interesting, and the people that helped put the music together, they did a great job with it. Next week, I will hopefully have a link to the song. The background singers have to get added onto it, and I really think you guys are going to like it. It's kind of a catchy little tune. So yeah, so I was happy to finally get that thing done. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, sorry, Russell. I didn't mean to throw underneath the bus there, but I had to. But yeah, I'm real excited about it. So, yeah, absolutely. So, we got a guy that wants to come on the show, he says.
Oh, yeah?
Appalachian Tales and Terror. He says, send me an invite, Chris. He's
Bring
got a
him
story
on
to tell. All right, I'll send him an invite. So, stand by, Jimmy. We'll send you an invite here.
Well, we appreciate that, Jimmy.
One device here, and send him an invite here real quick. But no, it is very interesting. But and like I told people, it's really really nice to have interaction with the audience, and people to remind you to try this, do that. So it was a blast.
Yeah, and we're all for people, asking questions, getting their concerns on here, and talking about whatever they want to talk about. Like Grizz is saying, if somebody's wanting to come on, just bring them on if we can. I'm game for that, man. Definitely.
All right, here. Let's see here.
So Jim has a hand pink waving. Jim's camera at dawn.
All right, Jimmy Blanton. The link has been sent, so we'll give him a minute to get everything situated, and we'll bring him right on. He's got the link. Get him to his studio there, his desk, and he'll be right on.
Standing Stones, how you doing, buddy?
So, yeah, Standing Stones. Welcome there, everybody. But no, it was great. So the last show with FDL, I didn't think about it, but they were like, "Well, what'd you think about the guy on the bike when they saw you? What'd you think he saw it?
Yeah, no kidding.
In the dark, and they saw you lit up in the middle of the cemetery. What'd you think he saw? Do you think you pedal faster?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't think about that, right?" So do you think you freak him out? So
I guarantee you did. we hunt, up here towards Alton, Illinois, and the cemeteries that we go to are like super pitch dark, but the street lights are like a half a mile away or whatever, so you barely see any light anywhere. But every once in a while you catch that shadow, because some people do live in those. They come in after night and they sleep in the big concrete buildings that have been broken into in the past and stuff like that. So we're really, really leery about being out there too late at night. There's always, like you always say, you got to have at least two of you there, and it can be a really scary thing.
I had backup, and I told people, don't forget, I'm retired. I had a heater with me. So I warned people, don't go out there and play a trick or a prank on me. So
you probably scared the hell out of that guy. So
how you think I felt? I thought I was going to die. I really did, because I was like in disbelief. I was like beside myself. So, and then of course, Michael with the FDL Paranormal, he had to clip it and play it on the air, and everybody got a kick out of it again, because I was rubbernecking. I was like, because it ran towards me.
Yeah.
And then it ran away from me. And I was like, are you serious? And I was trying to process it, instead of picking up the camera, like, oh my God, this is like, I was like, I'm like, is this really what? But anyways, but yeah.
So how many shows do you do, Chris? I mean,
I last time I checked, I was at 589, and that was probably about 48 or 54 I deleted by accident this year alone.
no, I'm talking about like during the week. How many different programs do you have?
14 or 15, I think. I don't even remember. I have to look.
Because when I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling through, sometimes I'll see like Grizzlies having a show here, and then
Yeah.
a little bit later there's another one there and all that. So that's cool that you get all those people on with you, and that that means that people have a lot of respect for you. That they come on, they want to talk to you and stuff. So I'm glad.
I have a huge respect for everybody, right? Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And hey, Lala, welcome to the show.
Hi, Lala.
I was just thinking about trying to get a hold of you earlier. I'm going to hook you up with that TikTok thing, so I'll get you fixed up. But and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And this is why I do things, is because of them and for the followers and for the audience. And I try to bring the best content. And and it was like I had to buy something else, another subscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, another membership fee a month. And it's amazing how people helps and I thank everybody all the time. And if it wasn't for them, I couldn't go out and do the things I do and have the stuff and be where I'm at now. And I'm very thankful. And I'm glad that we have the guests that we have that come
Yeah.
on to the show and want to be a part of our shows and part of our other shows that I do as well with the other co-hosts that I have. So
Yeah.
it's just a big community, and that's one of the things I love is that everybody is a big community. And one thing that I always stand by is morals.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always tell people is that stay out of the drama, right? And love each other.
Yeah.
And if it don't concern you, keep your nose out of it, and turn everything negative into a positive. And I live by that. I mean, I almost had my life taken from me in 2019, and there's been a lot of times on the PD where I could have been in situations where the outcome could have been a lot worse. And
Yeah.
I really didn't think about that too much when I was younger, right? But when I had that scare with cancer and I got hurt and they found it by mistake in the ER, I never forget that when the doctor come in. I mean, that changed my life, and it changed my attitude about life and how I live life. And then I took that, and when we look at the paranormal community or just the cryptid community, and it's sad how it's broken. And everybody should love each other and be as helpful and help each other and be as one and be a family. And I wish it was. And I try to do my part as much as possible. And I'm thankful to have great co-hosts and great guests that want to be a part of that family to extend that olive branch to everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Jimmy Blanton for Appalachian Tales of Terror. Welcome there.
Howdy, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight?
So,
Hello.
introduce yourself there.
My name's Jimmy Blanton. I am a former paranormal researcher and investigator, along with the cryptid researcher and investigator. What you call boots on the ground type of research in both fields, really.
Yes. So, what do you research?
Different subjects, anything, any type of cryptid. To let me take a step back here, and I'll share a little story to tell everyone what got me into both sides of the field. When I was 16-year-old, I had an experience that really messed with my head that got me started in all this. When I was younger in school, I'd always like to go to the library. I'd get my hands on any type of book that was scary, spooky. We even had some of the Warrens books in our little library in grade school that I would read into, and it kind of piqued my interest in paranormal. So when I turned 16, I had this little experience. I was dating a girl that she had this big balcony upstairs right off of her bedroom. They lived in a beautiful old coal camp house. And what a coal camp house is back here in this area where I live in Harlan, Kentucky, is notoriously known for coal industry. They provided a lot of Henry Ford's coal so that he could make cars back in the 1900s, early 1900s, I should say. And a lot of these coal miners had passed away and basically were trapped there. Some of them were probably, I mean, I really don't know how the other side of life works. Of course, as the saying goes, God works in mysterious ways. But
Right.
Yep.
we were sitting up at the balcony. She had one of these old school gliders that we were just sitting in, just having a good time. And I'd had my feet propped up on the banister crossways, of course, and I was just having a good time. It was a nice night. It was warm out, as this was in the summertime. And she was sitting beside of me, and her family always peeked at me a little bit and poked and made fun of me, and they kept telling me the place was haunted, and I just blew it off every time. I really didn't believe in that because I never experienced anything like that before. We're sitting there and we're rocking back and forth, just talking, and I kept feeling something rubbing up against my leg underneath, and I kept noticing it kept happening. About after the third time, I felt something rub up against the back of my leg, my calf. I reached down to pet it. She asked me, she says, "What are you doing?" I said, there's a cat rubbing up against my leg, one of the kittens. I want to pick it up, pet on it. She says, "We're upstairs. There's no steps to get up here on the balcony." So I stood up to look underneath the glider to see if the cat was there. There wasn't no cat.
Oh.
I
Yep.
noticed my pants leg moved because I had some real baggy blue jeans on that night. And I looked down and I could physically see something touching my leg, moving my jeans back and forth. And that freaked me out. And she busted out laughing at me. And she said, "I told you this place was haunted, but you wouldn't believe me." I said, "You're all full of crap." I said, "Somebody's doing something." So as I'm looking down for a fishing line or any way to explain this and debunk what's going on in front of me, the screen door opened up just about 3 inches and shut. And I froze, and I'm staring at this screen door, and it opens up a little bit more and shuts. So I'm like, fight or flight kicks in at this time, Grizz, and I'm looking around and stuff and down to see if I could see anything that's rubbing up against me or anything like that. Well, the screen door opens completely up and slams in front of me. When it did that, I ran through the screen door. I didn't take the time to stop and open it.
Yeah.
And that's what got me started researching the paranormal and then getting out and doing investigations and stuff in the area here where I live at. I've been with different groups and stuff over the years. Right now, I am with Paranormal Chaos, a woman and her husband are like family to me. Her name's Marcella Chadwick. And like I said, since a young age, any type of book like that just piqued my interest. And I've been in areas where I've been scratched, I've been screamed at.
Oh, wow.
Get out of places. I could have swore one time I was even tripped by something, and I went back to the area where I had stumbled, and there was nothing there. It was a flat area. It was an upstairs bedroom. Felt like to me there was something there, like laying there or placed there or something. And I asked everyone that was in our group, "Did you guys see me trip over something in the bedroom up there?" And they was like, "There's nothing up there. The whole place is empty, all upstairs. All the furniture's still downstairs, but there was nothing upstairs." And I went up there and I was like, leaned over, feeling around with a flashlight, looking around to see if I could feel anything, and it messed with my head. It really did, but it was an experience that over time, doing all this research and stuff, I was just like soaking it all up like a sponge. About 10 years ago, I met a friend of mine who owns a website, thecryptocrew.com. His name is Thomas Markham, and he's a Bigfoot researcher. And I met up with him, and he introduced me, basically to the community of cryptids and stuff like that. I got into it real heavy, finding anything that I could find, whether it was online or book wise, to research. I'd had weight loss surgery, and I'd lost close to 200 pounds. And then I decided,
Wow.
like 5 years ago, to get out in the woods and start doing research myself. My first wife had just passed away in September the 30th of 2019. And January of 2020, just months later, I'd went up into the mountains to clear my head because, I had so much stuff going on with grief and all that good stuff like that. Wasn't looking for Bigfoot at all. It was the last thing that was on my mind. I'd been out like a couple months prior to that after she had just passed away. But this day was different. There was a little area up there on top of the mountain where there's a gully that goes down the mountainside where an old stream washout had came through. I'm sitting, I walked up and I had a backpack, and I always take a big walking stick with me wherever I go. And I took my backpack off and set it down. And I noticed as I set it down, there was something over the hill about 30 foot from where I'm at. And it's a reddish brown cinnamon light color. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's a black bear, what we call cinnamon bears here because of the color, the less pigment in their fur. The lighter part makes it look reddish brown. And that's the reason why we call them cinnamon bears. I've seen a couple over the years, just going on hikes and things like that around here in this area. And it wasn't that something that like blew me away or anything until it stood up. But what made it stand up is I had set my walking stick down on my backpack, and my foot had hit it, and it rolled off and hit the ground. This thing stood up, and I noticed how broad its shoulders were. They were at least 3 foot, maybe a little bit more across the shoulders. The cinnamon red brown colored hair, reddish brown. I noticed that it didn't turn its neck because to me it didn't have a neck. It's like its head set straight down on its shoulder.
Wow.
The top of the head was conical shaped like your classic Bigfoot sighting. Some of the hair on the sides, like what we would say love handles, it was kind of like sporadic. I could see the skin, the texture of the skin was like a grayish white looking, like a real dirty pale type of skin. I could even make out some veins down on from the buttock area to the back of the legs before the calves was quite hairy, but I noticed that there was less hair on the calves, and this thing had some of the biggest calf muscles I've ever seen on anything. I'm talking bodybuilder style. Huge. But what blew me away really is the way it didn't quite turn around and look at me. It just turned its head just a little bit, but it was a whole shift of the upper body. I couldn't see the face. I could see the side of the face, and the ear is what I noticed more because it reminded me of the Buddha statues that you see, the big fat earlobe. And then I took another step back after it had went to the side a little bit because I noticed this thing is listening for me to see what I'm going to do. Once I took that step back, I'd stepped on some leaves or something and made a big crunchy sound, and it took off running down the gully, down the mountain. And I watched it till it ran out of sight. And then there's a little creek that you have to get across, an old logging road, and then you got the whole side of the mountain that they've logged off. So this thing probably went straight down the mountainside, and once it hit the little creek, that's the last I seen of it. And it would have had to either went up the logging road, which I don't think it did. It probably went right straight up the mountainside. But
Wow.
I've also seen what one night we were having a little meeting out here at the area park just out the road here from me. We used to do Halloween hay rides and stuff for the kids in the community. So some of us were out there and we was doing some stargazing. That's something I always like to do. And in this area, you could see the space station. You could see the satellites and stuff, TV satellites. And those satellites are bright. I can pick those out in the night sky easy because they're always in the same general area. This night we were watching, I noticed a big white, it looked like a star to me, was moving across the sky. And I got on my phone and was going and mapping out where the satellites and things like that were at. And it wasn't no satellite. This thing moved so fast sporadically and would stop. It couldn't have been space junk because that far up in the atmosphere, it would have kept moving.
Right.
Especially if it's in the gravitational force of the Earth, it would have continually going around in circles. But this thing stopped, and I took my attention and off just a second, and I told my wife at the time, I said, check this orb, UFO, light, whatever it is up there. And this thing took off in a burst and just, it was gone. I've never seen anything move that fast. This couldn't be no space junk, satellite. The way it moved, there's no way. It would have had to been some type of, solid material that had the capability to move like that because it was kind of going up and down. And then all of a sudden you could see like a little bright flash and then it was gone. All you seen was a streak. It had startled me so bad, and the kids that were with us, they all got scared and ran home. It tripped everybody out that night. So I've experienced quite a bit just being a researcher and an investigator. I like to try to go into investigations and with a clear mind and basically try to debunk things. And then if I can't debunk it, I put that in the evidence pile. And of course, if it's easy to debunk, I'll throw it out. But that's basically my life in a nutshell over the past 10 years. Cryptids.
Do you mind? You mind if I ask why you have former in your title underneath it has
well
former?
After I'd had the sighting with the Bigfoot, it made me think a lot. It made me just the feeling that day that I had seeing this thing. I wasn't supposed to be in there. I wasn't supposed to have seen it, and I got bad vibes from it. And I know there's a lot of people out there in different communities that claim that these beings, things, creatures, whatever you want to call them, are gentle. I didn't get that day. I believe if I hadn't spooked it and it ran off, it was a possibility that something bad could have happened that day.
Wow.
Understood.
It's something that I don't do no more because it's just me. It's something that I've settled on that I just don't want to do that type of investigations. I've heard calls, tree knocks, and all those things. I've even had neighbors on the other side of this mountain over here where all this happened have reported to me that her husband, when he was still alive, heard something scream on the mountainside over there. And I said, well, I shared the experience with her, and she says, well, we'll keep an eye out. Not long after that, she put cameras out all around the house and the property and stuff. They haven't seen anything, but they keep getting recordings of things howling and screaming and stuff. So I don't know.
So you're former cryptid, but you're still the paranormal researcher.
I'm not active like I used to be. I stay at home quite a bit now. But, there's things planned like War Criminal 7, who's in the chat right now. We've been working on going to the LDL for the last little bit. Hopefully soon we'll be able to get together and do something there. It's just crazy. It's crazy experiences that I've had, and but I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything because it's given me a different view on the afterlife. And having a Christian, being a Christian, and I'd always use God when we would go into places that people wanted things gone. I was the person that everybody would turn to and things like that. So, I'm glad I could help anyone out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That first experience you talked about with that stuff going across your leg, thinking it was a cat and all that. Did you have any more experiences like that anywhere else?
Oh, I've been scratched. Shoved. I've had my name called out before, multiple times in places on investigations. Even some family I've got one family member that lives right on the graveyard, and she sees a little boy in a tree, wearing old overalls. Like back in the 20s, most kids ran around. The boys, they had overalls on and no shirt underneath. And in the summer, that's how they ran around. And she said this little boy looked just like that's where he come from the 20s.
Yeah.
Just a little country boy running around playing on the graveyard. But she said that's the first time she'd ever seen that little boy there. But he's been seen multiple times in that graveyard in this area. Catherine, where did you have her sighting? Oh, I'm sorry, Catherine. I live in Harlan County, Kentucky. I'm a country boy. I live right in the Appalachian Mountains, where I live at. Not far from Grizz, actually. Grizz is just like up from me. So,
yeah.
When you were talking about running through the screen door, it reminds me of conversations I've had with Chris before. I could literally see him turn around, run right through the screen door.
Hey,
I literally could.
Get scared like that. I mean, that's the first reaction is run.
Yeah.
That's like I said, that fight or flight, man. You got to plan your move and get out of there as fast as you can. And not only did I run through the screen door, I rolled like halfway down the steps, right, and fell right in front of her mom. And her mom was cackling, laughing at me. She said, "I told you this place was haunted." And I was like, "Somebody take me home. I'm getting out of here."
Yeah.
I was ready to leave, but I've seen some crazy things in my time.
I bet. I could see Chris's glasses come off first and start heading out the screen door. And then there goes his head going out the screen door and the rest of his body and his feet going, boom.
I tell a lot of folks, I said the reason why I'm going bald is because of pulling my hair out on investigations and stuff and seeing things I shouldn't be seeing.
No, that's crazy. So any, and I don't really like to talk about this too much, but any witch, anything like that? Have you ever come across anything like that? Any of that type of phenomena, I guess?
There is an area. I'm not going to say where it's at because I don't want people, going on someone else's property, but there's an area that we used to camp out as teenagers. There was an old tree stump that had a pentagram that was carved in it. And there was a little altar that was made. And there was a young man that lived close by that was a known witch, warlock, as he called himself. There's rumors that he used to sacrifice animals up there.
Oh, wow.
It was blood-stained, and we'd always get a bad vibe. One night we were up there camping, and we kept hearing this loud rumbling noise, and we started hearing horses. And it sounded like it was all the way around us, but in the wood line.
Mm-hmm.
No horses in that area. That is private land. And we left our sleeping bags and everything there that night. We got off outside. It was a crazy, crazy ordeal, but I've experienced quite a bit of things in my life. But
it sounds
that's the main reason why I say former, because I just don't get out and do it that much anymore. But I do have some things planned coming up for this coming year. I'm wanting to start. I used to do a CryptoCon here in Harlan, 2018 and 2019, and I've skipped a little bit. But hopefully, 2024, and I'm gonna get that started back. So
That's good.
so what was your when you went paranormal investigating? What type of equipment did you use? What was your favorite?
well, I used to argue with a couple of my friends. I always liked using the spirit box, but they would always say they're not reliable and things like that. But if you have something in your hand that allows you to communicate with the spirit, that to me, that and an EMF detector or just a camera, plant your cell phone is one of the best tools that you can use in an investigation. You got video function, camera function, light. It doesn't take much to get started doing this. All it takes is just a little bit to get something good and have some evidence to share with folks.
No, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, man. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is some of your spooky investigations that's real memorable?
Me and a friend of mine, um, I'll give his first name. His first name was Dwayne. Uh, we got a Facebook post from a lady in Glasgow, Kentucky. She kept telling us about all this crazy stuff that was going on in her home and stuff. So she was basically begging someone to come to her home and find out what's there and get rid of it. So we go there. It was like almost 5 hours away from Harlan. Uh, a nice little road trip. We get there. She has smaller kids. I think if I remember, there was two little girls, a little boy, and a older brother who was about 18, 19-year old. And then, of course, the mom and the dad. Um, we kept getting a lot of pictures with orbs and things at first. And then we got upstairs. We kept hearing something walk around the room where we were at. And this place was really unsettled. You could just tell it was an old apartment complex. Uh, we talked to the neighbors. Supposedly there had been 2 or 3 people had died in that same apartment.
Oh, wow.
One not friendly person that a lot of people in the area did not like at all. But there's nothing really major went on until we went downstairs. That was where the oldest son, who was like 18 or 19, stayed down there. He had his bed set up and everything. We talked to him, and he just flat out told us. I said, "Don't lie to us. Just tell us the truth. What have you experienced down here?" And he said, "You're all gonna think I'm crazy." I was like, "You're talking to somebody that runs around in crazy places looking for ghosts and Bigfoot." I was like, "You're not crazy." We're downstairs. We got video recorders, audio recorders going. And we start asking questions. And he says something has grabbed his leg and almost pulled him out of bed one night. He says he keeps feeling the presence. He like to sleep with his blanket over his head because it would stay so cool down there in the wintertime. And he's like, he could feel the presence of somebody standing right by his bed, like they're poking the blanket. And he said, I'd throw it off my head and look around, shine a light, and there would be nothing there. He said it was crazy experiences. So we're sitting down there, we're asking questions, and we start the investigation. And I ask, who is here? Is there anyone down here? And it stayed real quiet for about 5 minutes until my buddy Dwayne decided he wanted to start provoking a little bit. When he started doing that and calling it out, we got the clearest EVP I've ever had of a lady's voice screaming at us, "Get out.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we had that, and I was like, there's most definitely something here. The little boy always said there was a slim man, as he called him. He said he was tall and slim, was upstairs, and would sit and watch him in the corner. He would wake up all hours of the night, and he would pull the cover down, peek over his blanket, and he said that slim man would be over there, sitting down on his butt with his arms around his knees, rocking back and forth, just staring at the little boy. And he said it. Uh, the mom said he would constantly come and run into their bedroom and sleep in the bed with him. That they had such a hard time out of him because of that. After the investigation, I asked the kids and everyone else if I could pray for them and stuff. And I went in the house and blessed the house and prayed over the home, prayed for the family. And right as we were getting ready to leave, we got some really interesting stuff that wasn't told to us pre-interview. Supposedly, the father that lived there, his dad used to be a pastor, a bishop of a church nearby, and done exorcisms. And when he said that, I just dropped my jaw and I was like, say that again. I'm sorry. Did I hear you right? Your dad used to be a bishop and used to do exorcism. He said, yes. It's like, okay. And then the young man that was there, his oldest son, just nonchalantly just says, well, the graveyard behind the apartment complex here, said, yeah. He said, we used to go there and do seances. I said, the graveyard.
Oh, shit.
I said, you might as well just jump in the shark infested waters. I said, because that's basically what you're doing. I said, you don't acknowledge these things. I said, there's your all's problem. I said, you all probably have attachments, but you need to seek other help than us. I said, I can only do so much. I said, you need a preacher, a pastor, a bishop, a father, a Catholic. Go to the Catholic Church. There was one across the road, and the mom just flat out told me that nobody would help them. After the blessing of the home and praying over them and stuff, she said a lot of the stuff had slowed down. They didn't see, the little boy didn't see the man upstairs anymore, but there was that voice downstairs in that boy's room, and said he was constantly still being touched. Not long after that, I think maybe a year, they moved out of that apartment complex and bought them a small home out in the western part of Kentucky. And as far as I know, to this day, they haven't experienced anything else. But the older son moved out. When they moved, he went out on his own. I think he still experienced stuff from time to time, and he just needs to get some help to get rid of that attachment.
Wow.
And as investigators, we can only do so much.
Right.
And I'd always try to go beyond being a Christian and stuff. God is always, he's like my shield, hammer, sword. You know, as it says in the Bible, when you go out to something, always take your armor with you, you know, and use God. And I've seen some crazy things happen bringing up God's or Jesus's name. And
yeah, rebuke it.
I believe a couple times I ran into some nasty stuff that I've had to just wipe my hands of and hand it off to someone else because I didn't feel comfortable messing with it because of it always take time for me to prepare. I'd fast and pray before we'd go on these excursions and stuff. And that's one of the best ways to do it because, you know, God's real, demons are real, and demons are something that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, that's what we do on our hunts. We always pray before we go and after we leave, make sure nothing comes with us. So that would have brought up another, you brought up the attachment thing. Have you ever had something attached to you?
Oh, no. No. Yeah. I had the woman that I call Sister Marcella, she has a gift. She don't like being called a psychic or anything like that, but she sees and communicates with people. What really triggered me into believing her is when my wife had passed away, me and her were real close, and she constantly kept an eye on me. She let it known before then that she sees things and communicate with spirits. I was having a rough time. I was grieving. I was drinking, and I'd had a gun at the time. I was about to do something bad. As I'm sitting here in this same area on the couch, ready to put this pew pew and just end it all, all of a sudden my phone rings, and it's Marcella. I pick it up, and she's screaming at me, top of her lungs. She was mad. She said, "What are you doing?" She said, "You put that down now. How could you even think about doing that?" And I said, "How did you know about this?" She said, "Because your wife, Melissa, came to me in my face, would not leave me alone, and told me that you were about to do something bad." And that right there made me believe in her ability. And I like to test people that claim to be psychic, because there are people out there that fake that stuff, but there's also people out there that have the ability that want to help folks.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to meet Marcella and stuff, to be with her and watch her help folks and things like that. And,
I'm glad she was there for you.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
absolutely.
I am too, because I wasn't in the right state of mind. I hadn't drunk before then. It'd been years, like a teenager, and it was the only thing that was keeping me out of it, so I didn't think about what was going on and stuff, because me and her had been together, first wife Melissa, for like 26, 28 years since we were teenagers. And when you're with somebody that long, it really messes with your head when just one day they're up and gone. So, but
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Well,
war
how
criminal.
that happened to you, my friend?
He's trying his best to get me to the LBL.
Yeah,
One
there's a
day,
lot of
hopefully.
activity going on down there
Oh
right
yeah,
now. They got a
yeah,
lot of places closed off still. A lot of places that are overgrown. They won't let you go back. So, very interesting place right now.
oh yeah. I can't wait. I mean, one day, I thank you very much, Petey. Uh, it's it's made me stronger going through that and stuff. And God sent me another beautiful sweetheart that we instantly got in a relationship. We both fell hell and head over heels in love with each other, and we ended up getting married 2 months later. And she put up with me this long, and it's been what, 2 years, sweetheart? Yeah, it's going on 3. So
Well,
That's awesome.
congratulations, man. That's
I
Yeah.
awesome.
appreciate that. And I'd prayed before that, after Melissa had passed away, that I just told him, I said, "God, I need you to step in my life. I need you to send me someone. And I know when you do, it's going to be the person that I needed." So that's what happened. 5 months.
That's
That's
good.
awesome.
Mhm.
That is. That's awesome. It really is. Yeah, so everybody's chiming in on the LVL. It is. LVL is such a mystery, ladies and gentlemen. Never a dull moment. There's so much mystery around that area. I know there's places that you're not supposed to be, and but people are going.
Yes.
But it's just what they're getting down there, just the sounds and the missing animals and the cemeteries that are now off limits, which I don't understand why. And
Well,
it just doesn't add up.
in 1982, there is supposed uh, a mutilation style murder happened, supposedly by a what they called the dog man, or a
Right.
werewolf. Slaughtered the whole family. And there was some, I can't remember what podcast it was on, but someone, supposedly one of the troopers was on there, wanted to hide their identity, and talked about how they were on the scene, and they'd physically seen this little girl up in a tree. And there was, the first thing he thought, there's no way that a mountain lion or cougar could have got this little girl as big as she was up in this tree.
Hmm.
Even after they done the forensics and stuff like that on this thing, it came back canine. I don't know how true that is. It's basically rumors, but yeah, it's messed up stuff there. There was also a bow hunter, a good friend, Martin Groves, has a book out where he thinks he ran into the hunter that they found dead. Supposedly the tent was shredded in the area where he was staying at. Uh, I don't know much more about that, but he says, I'm pretty sure that I'd seen that guy either it he was going in or he was coming out, and he had met that guy, and it really messed with his head. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy, not just the werewolf stuff, but there's also been Bigfoot sighting there, UFO, and other things that go along with that.
Yeah, quite a bit. Hello there, Henry. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
So yeah, a lot of stuff. It's just crazy, the activity down there. I mean, you've got everything between the cryptids and the paranormal, right? But
Yes.
you know, I forgot how many cemeteries are down there. But when they start blocking off the cemeteries and they're blocking off other parts of the park and letting it overgrown,
Oh yeah, the
and it just
Fae also.
add to the mystery, right?
You have a lot of
So
elemental stuff going on there too.
yes,
Fairies and other little small beings, what the Cherokee and Shawnee in this area and all through the state of Kentucky and Tennessee, the what they call the little people. And if
yes,
you know, I know I got some good friends that are Navajo and Apache that won't talk about skinwalkers, but they will not mess with the little people. They seem to be more afraid of the little people than they do. And I believe the little people are just elementals. They're an elemental is a spirit that's never been in a physical body. They're just nobody knows where they come from, if they're fallen angels or whatever they are, but they are very mean and mischievous. That is for sure.
yes, yes. Yeah, that is true. So hopefully you get down there, and love to see what you get. That'd
Oh
be
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, hopefully we can get things set up to where we can get there and we'll try to go live. Uh, I don't know if War Criminal would want to be on camera. I don't think he can, but he can still stand in the background. We could do some research and share it with everybody. So
Yeah, let
Hey,
us know.
blur his face out, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Hey,
I can do that now.
wear a paper bag or something. You know, hey, I've got
Yeah,
masks,
yeah.
so
Well, I'll get. That's what I collect Halloween masks and things like that. So I'll just take one of my Michael Myers masks and let him walk around me
yeah,
behind the
you
woods,
know,
and let me film and trip some
I
people
would have a heart attack sitting there and
Yeah.
seeing that come out of the cemetery. I'd
Oh
probably
yeah,
just die right there.
oh yeah.
Looking back, man, I should have done that last weekend on you, Grizz, when you were out there in the cemetery and
I would have been on the 6 o'clock news.
walk through there with a Jason mask or something on you.
Yeah,
Didn't know what to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd have been on the 6 o'clock or 11 o'clock news that night.
Yeah,
So
we'll have to get you down there with us also, Grizz, and
yeah, it's not that far.
yeah,
So
it's not far away at all. And
not your bike, not your liver. You crack me up,
Nacho
Jimmy.
Libre. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get you one of those
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio mask, War Criminal.
So yeah, I do have masks, ladies and gentlemen, different types of masks. But yeah. But Jimmy, I'm glad that you came on, and I greatly
Hey, I
appreciate
appreciate
your time.
Yeah, thank you,
no
Jimmy.
problem. No problem at all, guys. Yeah, I enjoy talking to different folks and sharing things that I've been through and stuff like that. Just getting to
Well,
know
like
other folks.
everybody said, now they can put a face with the name now, right?
Oh yeah,
Because they always see you out there in the audience in the chat. So yeah.
yeah, that's me. We we're getting ready to start going live here within the next month or so on the podcast, my podcast, Appalachian Tales of Terror. So, like to have you guys on there also the one night to
Yeah,
talk
absolutely.
around
I'm
and stuff
always
and
game.
share some things. Uh, I'd heard that you was in a cemetery there, Grizz. I didn't get to watch that.
Oh my
how'd that go
Lord.
for you?
I'll say this. So we're live and we're talking and we got the cat balls going off. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this ghost comes running at me. And I'm dying. I'm dying. And I'm freaking out. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. It turned out to be a guy on a bicycle. And I'm like having a heart attack on live on a camera. And I lost it once I realized what's going on.
I don't blame you, man. In a cemetery and something like it come at me, yeah, I'm running too.
Yeah. Go ahead, Penny Van. So on the last show, Michael actually did a clip of it because, I mean, my daughter didn't know what was going on at first because she was freaking out because I was freaking out. Then she locked on. It looked like a ghost running at me, but it was a guy on the bicycle. I just came out of the dark and I lost it on camera. So instead of picking up a camera to film it, right, I locked, and I was just like freaking out. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. I just locked on it. It was just like, ah. But anyways, but yeah.
Oh wow. So
then they want to know why people don't get pictures of stuff when stuff happens,
or it's blurry,
or it's blurry, right?
That's because you're running. You really try to take pictures as you're running.
So, but it turned out to be a real good. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that, everybody. But I had everything I need to film anything that happened, and it just went right out the window. I was like, "Is this really happening?" Because it came out of the dark and it was faded because I had half the moon out, right? And I was just talking, and it was just like, "It's a ghost." And then I just stopped talking. And I just got fixated on it. And it's like, it's running towards me. And it's the only thing you saw. I was just like freaking out. But it was pretty interesting. We had a lot of activity, though.
I say so.
Yeah. But it was interesting. Yeah. It was. I froze. I ain't going to lie. I froze. If I had a heart monitor hooked up to me, it would have exploded. I couldn't even breathe after the encounter. Then I got laughing. Then, and then on the last show, just to top it off before I let everybody go, they're like, Grizz, did you think how that biker felt? You lit up in the middle of the grave just with the light and they just saw your face. I didn't even think about that. He probably pedaled faster.
Yeah. Well, you probably scared him also. Not expecting anyone to be out there. He's going for a nice little stroll in the cemetery on a bike.
In a cemetery on a bike. Like, who does that?
And
I told everybody,
I'm like us, dude. People like us. We go riding and do things. We're looking for ghosts in cemeteries, man.
And I told everybody, I was like, I'm going to the cemetery. I'm going to be packing me a heater. So do not play a prank or a joke on me. I didn't tell anybody where I was going. So,
but I'm glad you didn't shoot him, Grizz.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, right. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't even grab a camera, ladies and gentlemen. That's how bad I was scared.
That's funny.
But Jimmy, thank you for coming on.
Hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you guys letting me come on. Anytime
thank you, Jimmy.
You need a guest, I'm always here.
Oh, absolutely. And we look forward to hearing some reports from you from the LBL. And,
Tracy, it's good meeting you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. You need anything, feel free to reach out to me. You can catch me. You just go to my Facebook page or go to Paralink.com. I'm one of the co-owners of Paralink.com. It's a social media for it's like a Facebook for the paranormal.
Awesome.
Free to join all that. Yeah, check it out. And no, it's definitely good meeting you. And I'm glad to hear your stories. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
pretty
cool.
Absolutely.
I hope everybody has a great night. God bless you all. Grizz.
And coast to coast around the world, that's a wrap. Thanks, Jimmy.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you, Grizz.